Tell me when I'm live. I am live. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the online auto ball. This is the second day. We had a couple live, not episodes of our podcast. We had one live episode, really, of our podcast, but we had another where you were able to meet the co founders, including myself and also Kelly Conway and Tammy Caskey Brown. So if you did not see that yesterday, please go ahead and tune into that. But so, what is the Auto Ball and why are we here online? Well, let me tell you. So, I am Tiffany Westrich-Robertson. I am the Chief Executive Officer here at International Foundation for Autoimmune, Autoinflammatory Arthritis. And we are moving to say AiArthritis for short. If you've known us for a while, you know we went as IFAA for a while, for actually forever. Pretty much. But we that is one of the exciting things of the transitions that's happened this year. So we are transitioning over to the AI arthritis because it really explains more of what we do. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we do here in a minute. But first, the Autoball. So we are an organization that was founded in 2011 after a movement. The movement was started by myself. It was in 2007. And I, like many of you who are either living with autoimmune diseases or autoinflammatory diseases that include an inflammatory arthritis as a major clinical component, you might remember your onset. Now, it also can be juvenile and onset. So, in that case, some people have lived with these all of their lives. For me, I was in my mid 30s. It was 2007, and boy, life was pretty good. I was vice president at an architectural firm in California near Los Angeles. I was playing lots of sports. I kickboxed, I played volleyball, I played softball. I was I threw a good football too. I challenge any of you men out there. How's good? and I played volleyball on the beach. Things were just really looking up for me. And then I had onset and became a mystery patient for a couple of years. And I won't go in too deep into that story. I've told it several times in our show yesterday. I talked a little bit about it. But the the essence of the story is that I was a mystery patient. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. I was experiencing fatigue that was like no fatigue I had ever experienced before. A lot of trouble staying awake. I was having trouble concentrating, like we call it brain fog. I had low grade fevers. And I kept saying it feels like arthritis, or what I would assume arthritis to feel like. And it was mostly in the left side of my body and in my tailbone area. And everyone meaning the primary care physicians, they ignored the arthritis. They kept focusing on the autoimmune features. But even that didn't lead them to the lane of autoimmune disease. So it was cancer, it was lung issues. The list went on, and I spent about 10,000 US dollars just trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Many hospital visits, just to be sent home saying you're a mystery. That was the theme. I remember I was laying in bed one night, and it was before I was diagnosed. And I guess I was maybe a year in, and I just kept saying, "What is wrong with me?" Everyone keeps saying, "We can't figure it out. You're such a mystery. We've never seen anything like this before." And I kept thinking, how can I be such a mystery? What in the world am I going to die tomorrow? I was so fearful. And I said to myself, I don't know what this is, but I can tell you when I figure it out, I am going to do my damnedest to make sure that nobody else goes through what I'm going through right now. Nobody needs to be this much of a mystery. So I kept that promise. And in 2009, after one rheumatologist who told me, I'm not sure what it is. I know it is some sort of undifferentiated connective tissue disease, or we use an umbrella term, undifferentiated disease, at our organization. But I can't treat you for that, she said. So I'm going to wait and watch you get worse. And I got worse. I got a lot worse. So that day that I finally did receive a diagnosis, and it was for rheumatoid arthritis, which has since been changed, but I felt relief. I felt a relief like it's really hard to explain. I had an identity, I had answers, and more importantly for me, I think I knew I was going to get my life back, or I thought I was going to get my life back. You know, one of the things that is really interesting about these diseases, and I'm going to quote Kelly Conway here, who's one of our co founders, is that living with AI arthritis diseases isn't the end of the world. It's another way of living in it. And no one knows that. Sorry. No one knows that quite as much as all of you, the 450 million estimated people in this world living with these diseases. I didn't plan on doing this. Sorry. So I went home and I thought, what am I going to do with my life? I was a vice president of a company. I was a teacher. Everything I knew about my role in life was gone as I knew it. And I had to start over, or I thought I did. So to bring more awareness and to try to say nobody has to go through this, I did the only thing I knew how to do. I made a bracelet. I declared to myself in a studio apartment in Los Angeles, California, that I am going to do everything I can to make sure this doesn't happen to another person. And with that bracelet, I created a movement, and it got picked up by a couple of bloggers on social media, which took off in 2009, the same time um, that I was diagnosed. And what happened was people started ordering them from all over the world. And I thought, okay, this is something. I mean, I'm just one voice. you know, I'm one voice. Is this going, I mean, if these people really understand me, maybe I'm not just one voice. Maybe there's more of us out there. Maybe we're not such mysteries after all. Maybe if we united, that passion that I was feeling, others are probably feeling it too. And together, maybe we can be contagious. Maybe that's the key to moving mountains. That was the philosophy. So, long story short, we started talking, all of these patients, and I mean around the world, Australia, Africa, New Zealand, Ireland, uh, Canada. I mean, name a country. People were coming from everywhere. And we were all talking for the first time. And something very interesting happened from that. We identified a gap, something that had not yet been addressed because we were talking. We were the missing link, the people living with the diseases. We realized it did not matter which diagnosis we had: rheumatoid arthritis, spondyloarthritis, Sjogren's syndrome, Still's disease. It didn't matter. We all had the same story relatively, with slight variation in our disease presentation or our disease course. But what was uniting us? Well, the journey, the treatments are relatively the same, but the disease etiology, the fatigue, that overwhelming fatigue, the brain fog, the fevers, high grade usually if it's autoinflammatory, lower grade usually if it's autoimmune. We had those uniting auto factors. But then we also have the arthritic component. So we realized, wait a minute here. There's over 100 autoimmune diseases, and then even more when you add the autoinflammatory diseases. But only a handful of those have arthritis as a major clinical component early in onset. And it was that aha moment made by people living with our diseases, our voices, our conversations figured that out. Not me. I'm just the one who said, you know what? I don't have to give up my job. I don't have to give up what I love to do. Instead, hey, I won favorite teacher of the year. I'm pretty darn good at it. So why don't I teach myself how to run a nonprofit? So I took all my background in business and education, and I bought a lot of books, and I taught myself the things that I needed to do to toggle this organization into a, from a kind of a for-profit to a nonprofit. And I kept the part-time jobs to get through it. Um, and it was tough, but I had a lot of people who joined. So I want to take a moment to thank Amanda John. She was one of the original co-founders. We've got to give credit to Amanda uh, and Tammy Keskey Brown. She's been there from the beginning. I love you, Tammy. Um, there were some others that decided that they wanted to start the organization. I'm going to give a shout out to Lori Bruton. She was going to be an original co-founder. Her daughter, psoriatic arthritis, and I met her daughter Emily at 15. She was 15, not me. She's 15, and she's a grown up now, teaching herself. But Lori's now on our board of directors. But they believed, and a lot of people believe. We still have volunteers from the original, including Kelly. So Kelly was an original volunteer, and she decided to, when Amanda decided to step down to take care of other things, we transitioned to a foundation, and Kelly took over and became a co-founder as we grew into a foundation from a movement. But the point is it took our voices plus all of the volunteers to realize this need. There was a need, and our voices matter. There's been a lot of things that uh, we've done over the last few years. But first, I do want to just tell you a little bit about what we do, who we are, because it's probably the number one question we get. What do you do exactly? We are a little bit different than your typical organizations. We, um, first of all, we are led by people living with these diseases. And we also utilize our backgrounds in business and education to facilitate conversations between a global pool of patients and other stakeholders, meaning anyone else who's involved in our lives: doctors, nurses, researchers, pharmaceutical companies, non pharmaceutical companies. So anything that is a part of our journey, we help facilitate those conversations. But we always make sure that the patient is an equal voice with those stakeholders. Equal. That's important to understand. We don't interview doctors, we don't interview nurses, we don't interview researchers. We work side by side with them because our voices matter. That makes us different. So our mission is literally to help others like us living with AiArthritis diseases to use their voice alongside other stakeholders as equals to impact education, which is also awareness, advocacy, which is public policy or legislation, and research. And I think we do a pretty darn good job at it, I might say. Several of our leaders, our volunteers, have been those patients as research liaisons, the people talking to legislators. We've been on advisory panels. We've been those people at the table, so to speak. And at our organization, we like to turn those opportunities over to our volunteers so that more people can be at the table, quite literally. But not everybody can be in physical locations, right? Or can have the opportunity to actually physically be right there at the table. So we decided to start a couple programs that really embraced our mission and brought our work to the next level. And those two have just recently launched. One is our AI Arthritis Voices 360 talk show, which we are airing some of those episodes in real time, first time ever live, streaming on this Facebook page, starting yesterday all the way through Wednesday, which is World Autoimmune and Autoinflammatory Arthritis Day. Fitting because it is the very first program we ever did as an organization. So we wanted this first auto ball we ever did, first gala, to celebrate all of the people living with these diseases, to thank our supporters, our volunteers, and to introduce what we do to a larger pool of people, not just patients, people. We need people to know what we do. Companies, hospitals, doctors, because the more who know, the more we can connect and help other people. See, 1 in 12 people have our diseases. So that means somebody at that company, somebody who works at that restaurant, somebody who works at that hospital, somebody who has our diseases. So please tell them about us. We're here. And historically, we've changed the world from our sofas. So this podcast, the idea was to take our organization in 2020 to the streets. We have literally functioned as an organization online since our inception in 2011, mainly because of people living with our diseases need to have flexibility in order to be completely functional. People ask me all the time, Tiffany, how in the world do you work 60 plus hours a week? How? Well, first of all, I love this. This isn't work most of the time. That's key. Second, I couldn't if I didn't have an office from home, if I didn't have the flexibility to work when I felt best, if I didn't have the flexibility to say, wow, I'm having really bad brain fog, nothing I'm going to be able to do right now, brain power wise. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to come back to this later. If I didn't have that, I couldn't do what I do. I couldn't run this organization to the level that I do. So I'm thankful for that. But we're also international. And we had to make sure that people all over the world could participate. So we stay open 24/7. And we always have said we change the world from our sofas. That's been kind of our motto. But we can only do so much on the internet. And so leading up to the podcast, we actually started AiArthritisVoices.org. It's an online site. It is launching this week. So if you are a person living with these diseases, you can sign up, and we'll talk more about that later this week in a different show. But the idea of that online place is so you can get involved in all of the projects we do. You can talk, you can learn from all of the conferences, all of the places that we're sitting at the table, we will bring those back to you. So if you can't be there, we will bring it to you. That's called Learn. And then we also have Connect. We have a global network philosophy at our organization. We are friends with lots of organizations all over the world. And we try to build our stakeholders, our companies, hospitals, the people that we can work with to help solve problems, which is another reason why we need you to share on who we are and get people to understand we're here. We're here. We've been online. We tried to go offline, and then COVID said, get back online. So we'll just continue changing the lives from our sofas for a little while. But this site's going to help. It's going to be able to enable people from all over the world, regardless of geography, regardless of prior advocacy experience, and regardless of their physical capabilities, to get involved. But so will this podcast. The podcast was supposed to tour in different cities so that we could physically go out and meet people. But that's okay. The beauty of the podcast is it's ingrained, or the talk show is ingrained into everything we do. So We identify a problem by talking with people like us. Then we put it on the show. We invite everyone to the table to say, here's a topic that we're taking on. We then go back to the community and other stakeholders and we ask you to participate. Tell us, join the conversation. Then we bring it back to the talk show for like a step two, if you will. And we work harder on solving the problem. We had a great example of that one yesterday. We did a show that you can check out on our Facebook page with Dr. Kim and Sue Schrant, which was on differentiating arthritis types. So make sure you watch that and have a voice, because then we will keep going on that cycle until we solve the problem or develop resources. So we're doing a lot. Tune into this auto ball throughout the week to learn more about our projects and meet more of our team. You can also make sure that you register at Autoball at aiarthritis.org/Autoball. If you register, you'll get links to all of these broadcasts that we're doing. We'll give you information about our projects, how you can get more involved. There's a whole packet that will come with it when we're done wrapping up this. But you'll also be informed of ways that you can tune in live. So make sure you do that as well. But the most thing that I guess I wanted to say was thank you. Thank you. You know, um, I I say this all the time, and people who are part of our organization will will vouch for me. This I this is not my organization. It's my baby. it's my- I love this organization. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. But it's not me. It's us. From the very first day a volunteer starts with our organization, they talk to me. Everyone's an equal. Everyone has a voice, and together we can use our voices to influence education, legislation, or advocacy and research. And believe me, we have the impact that we have built over the last few years is something that I could have only dreamed about when I was declaring a movement to myself in a studio apartment in Los Angeles, California. I almost sometimes feel like I'm dreaming, because how did this become a reality? You know, there's a lot of contagious talk in the world today with COVID-19. And I'm going to call on all of you to let's be contagious in a good way. Please join me. Join the volunteers that make this happen. Thank you to the volunteers. Without you, there is no way we could do what we do. Thank you for our annual supporters who come together and work with us to make sure our programs work. Shout out to LADA, or Lupus Allied Diseases Association, to Forward National Data Bank, formerly the National Data Bank for Rheumatic Diseases. They are part of our annual council that helps us work through our programs. Also, I want to give a shout out to all of the vocal impact partners, or VIPs, that are monthly donors that help make things like our podcast and our online community possible. But mostly thank you to the people who give their time and their passion to our organization, because without you, there would be no organization. So let's be contagious in a good way together. Let's do that. Help us spread this passion. Help us move those mountains that I tried to start 9 years ago. 9 years. Just had our birthday. We're asking you to tell 10 people. That's 9 years plus one. We want to grow in year 10. Tell 10 people about us. Ask them to come to this Facebook page and learn all about who we are and what we do. Go to our website. All of our programs are on there, but we'll be talking more about those throughout the week. And we're also asking to give $10, a minimum of $10, 9 plus 1. And then ask others to also give 10 to help support what we do and keep our mission alive through through 2021. You know, we've been changing the world from our sofa, like I said, and we'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. Um, but we're ready. We're ready to take our work to the next level. And in order to do that, we need you to make this help make us a reality. Tell people we're here. Share with 10, donate 10. Please get us to year 10 strong so that when we can go out to the world, we're ready and we have people that we can say, thank you for coming and learning on what we do. We'd like to work with you more. Give us that opportunity. You can go to aiarthritis.org/autoball. There you can register to receive all of the information that we'll be doing over the next few days and from yesterday. You can donate directly there. You can also share your story with us. You can learn how to volunteer too while you're on that site. But the bottom line is that we talked about moving mountains, and I said this a long time ago, and I think it's very apropos now. Together, we can move mountains because bulldozers, so overrated. Thank you so much for your support and for believing in the International Foundation for Autoimmune and Autoinflammatory Arthritis.